Some days, you see people who never seem rushed. While everyone else is stressed, they stay calm. While others complain, they keep moving forward. You wonder, how do they do it? Do they have more hours in the day? Some secret talent? No. What they have is a set of small daily habits that quietly build power over time. And here's the truth. These aren't habits reserved for special people. You can start them today. And as you do, you shall notice something amazing. You won't just get better at life, you shall also find your mind sharper, your decisions clearer, and yes, even your English skills growing without effort. By the end of this journey, you shall know 7 habits that smart people use every single day, and you shall know exactly how to make them yours. They begin the day with mental clarity. The way you start your morning decides the rhythm of your entire day. Think about it. Have you ever woken up late, rushed to get ready, skipped breakfast, and then felt like you were catching up for the next 12 hours? That's not an accident. That's the chain reaction of starting your day in chaos. Smart. People know this. They treat mornings like a sacred space. The first minutes after you wake up are like fresh snow, untouched, pure, and full of potential. What you choose to step into that snow with will leave marks that last the whole day. Instead of letting the world flood into their minds immediately, they take control. Some meditate, some write in a journal, some simply sit with their thoughts and breathe. But there's one thing they have in common. They don't hand over their attention to the noise of notifications the moment their eyes open. Once worked with a young engineer who told me every morning he would check his phone while still in bed. Instagram, news, emails. By the time he got up, his head was already full of other people's problems, world disasters, and endless comparisons. He said he felt drained before his first coffee, so I gave him a challenge. No phone for the first 15 minutes of the day. Instead, keep a notebook next to his bed. As soon as he woke up, he had to write down 3 words to define his day. His first set was focus, gratitude, courage. Those words became a mental compass. Whenever he felt lost or stressed during the day, he'd come back to them. 2 weeks later, he told me, I didn't realize how heavy my mornings were until I lifted the weight. If you're learning English, you can turn this habit into double growth. Start your day by writing a short motivational paragraph in English. It doesn't have to be perfect grammar. It can be as simple as, today I will be confident. I will speak without fear. I will learn one new word and use it. This isn't just language practice. It's training your brain to think positively and intentionally. Because here's the thing. Your first thoughts decide your first actions. If your first thought is gratitude, your first action is kinder. If your first thought is focus, your actions stay on track. If your first thought is courage, your decisions reflect bravery. Action. Step. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, sit up in bed and take 3 deep breaths. Write down 3 words that will define your day. Then, if you're learning English, turn them into a single short sentence. Keep it somewhere you can see. Your desk, your phone wallpaper, even your notebook. Let those words steer you and ask yourself, am I starting my day in control, or am I letting the world control me? Because once you choose clarity in the morning, you've already made your first smart decision of the day. Quote, your first thoughts decide your first actions. They question before they react. Not every message needs an instant reply. Not every problem deserves your panic. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is nothing, at least for a moment. We live in a world that worships speed, instant messages, instant decisions, instant reactions. But here's the truth. Fast isn't always wise. Smart people know that in the space between what happens to you and how you respond lies your greatest power. Think about the last time you reacted quickly to something. Maybe someone sent you a rude text, or your boss criticized your work. Did your first response make things better or worse? Often, the fastest words are the ones we wish we could take back. I remember working with a client who struggled in meetings. The moment someone disagreed with him, he would jump in to defend himself, speaking quickly, sometimes too emotionally. He thought this made him look strong, but in reality, it made him look defensive and impatient. We tried a simple change. Instead of replying immediately, he would take a slow breath, count to 3, and then respond. The difference was huge. People saw him as calmer, more thoughtful, and even more confident. The same applies when learning English. Many language learners feel pressured to respond instantly in conversations, worrying they'll look slow if they pause. But here's the thing. Even native speakers pause. Those few seconds give you time to choose your words more carefully and avoid mistakes. In fact, a short pause can make you sound more confident, not less. Imagine you receive a message in English that feels critical or unclear. Instead of typing a quick emotional reply, you read it twice. You think, what is this person really asking? What do I really want to say? Then you answer, calmly, clearly, and with intention. That's what smart people do. They replace impulsive reactions with thoughtful responses. They don't let other people's urgency control their peace. Action. Step. This week, practice the pause rule. Whether it's a text, an email, or a face-to-face conversation, take one slow breath before responding. If it's written communication, reread your words and ask yourself, does this match my real intention? If not, rewrite it. You'll be surprised how many misunderstandings disappear when you slow down, because here's the secret. The pause is where wisdom hides. Ask yourself, am I reacting because it's urgent, or because I feel I have to prove something? When you choose to pause, you choose clarity over chaos. And in that moment, you're not just controlling your words, you're controlling your future. They learn something new. Daily smart minds don't just happen. They are built, piece by piece, day by day. And the building material? Fresh knowledge. Think of your mind like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. But if you give it small, regular challenges, it grows stronger and sharper. That's why truly smart people make learning a daily habit, not a once-in-a-while event. They don't wait for a course, a seminar, or a big training session. They find ways to feed their minds every single day. It doesn't have to be hours of study. In fact, it shouldn't be. Just like you wouldn't water a plant with a whole bucket once a month, you shouldn't flood your brain with too much information at once. The real magic is in small, consistent doses. 5 minutes reading an article, 10 minutes watching an educational video, learning one new English word and using it in conversation. I once met a young man from Brazil named Marcos. He had a busy job, a family, and barely any time to sit down. But every day without fail, he learned something new. Some days it was a single English phrase he picked up from a podcast. Other days, it was a short TED Talk during his lunch break. Over 2 years, his English became fluent, his general knowledge expanded, and he became the go-to person at work for fresh ideas. All because of the small things he learned daily. The problem many people have is thinking learning must be big and formal. But the truth? Every single thing you feed your mind counts. Reading the back of a cereal box in English, asking a friend what a word means, listening to an audiobook while walking to the bus. And here's where it gets exciting for English learners. When you link your daily learning to the language you want to master, you get double growth. Not only do you gain knowledge, but you also train your brain to think and absorb information in English. Imagine this. Each morning, you read one news headline in English and learn 2 new words from it. By the end of the year, you will have learned over 700 new words without feeling overwhelmed. Action. Step. Today, commit to learning just one thing before you go to bed. It could be a fact, a skill, a word, or a phrase. Keep a learning log, a small notebook, or a note on your phone, and write it down. Over time, you'll see how much your mind grows. Ask yourself, if my mind is a garden, What seeds am I planting today? Because here's the truth. A day without learning is a day wasted. The most successful, sharp-minded people are not the ones who know everything. They are the ones who are always curious, always exploring, always adding something new to their mental library. And when you feed your mind daily, you become unstoppable, not overnight, but little by little. Until one day, people look at you and think, how do they know so much? They practice energy management, not just time management. We've all been told to manage your time better. But here's the truth. Nobody talks about time is equal for everyone, but energy is personal. You and I both get 24 hours in a day, but not all hours feel the same, do they? Some hours you're sharp, focused, and ready to take on the world. Other hours, even simple tasks feel like climbing a mountain. Smart people understand this difference. They don't just look at the clock, they listen to their body and mind. Think about it. If you're naturally more alert in the morning, that's when you should tackle your hardest work, make big decisions. Or, if you're learning English, do your speaking and writing practice. Save the low-energy times for tasks that require less brain power, like answering basic emails or organizing files. I once worked with a student named Hannah from Egypt. She used to practice English every evening after work, but by then she was exhausted, frustrated, and distracted. Her progress was slow and she started doubting herself. One day, she tried moving her English practice to the morning, right after breakfast. In just a few weeks, she noticed a huge difference. She was more focused, remembered more, and even enjoyed it. Same amount of time, but used at the right energy moment. Managing your energy means knowing yourself. When do you feel most creative? When do you get tired? When are you most social? By planning your day around these rhythms, you don't just get more done. You do it with less stress and more satisfaction. Ask yourself, am I using my high-energy hours for my highest priorities, or am I wasting them on things that don't matter? One powerful method is to divide your day into energy zones. High energy zone. Use this for deep thinking, learning, and creating. Medium energy zone. Use this for teamwork, meetings, or moderate tasks. Low energy zone. Use this for routine or repetitive work. When you start scheduling based on energy, you'll notice something amazing. You end your day feeling accomplished, not drained. You still have the same 24 hours, but you've used them in a way that protects your most valuable resource, your mental and physical energy. Action. Step. For the next 3 days, track your energy levels from morning to night. Notice when you feel most alert and when you feel tired. Then, adjust your schedule so your hardest task or learning practice falls during your personal power hours. Remember, guard your energy like treasure, because it is. And here's the best part. When you protect and direct your energy, you not only work better, you live better. You enjoy more moments, have more patience with others, and even have more motivation to invest in yourself, because the goal isn't just to get through the day. It's to get through the day feeling alive. They communicate with precision. Have you ever said something and then immediately realized it wasn't what you meant? We've all been there. A moment of carelessness in how we express ourselves can lead to misunderstanding, conflict, or even hurt feelings. Clear communication is a superpower. Smart people know that words are powerful tools, and they choose them with intention. They don't just speak to be heard, they speak to be understood. Think about the last time someone explained something to you so clearly that you felt calm, informed, and respected. Didn't it feel good? That's the gift of precision. And here's the truth. Precision doesn't mean using fancy words or long sentences. It means removing the extra noise and making sure your message lands exactly the way you want it to. One of my friends, Marco, learned this lesson the hard way. He was an Italian entrepreneur trying to pitch his idea to English-speaking investors. He spoke fast, used complicated sentences, and added too many details at once. The investors were polite, but they didn't seem convinced. Later, a mentor told him, "Marco, your idea is great, but your message is drowning in words." He practiced slowing down, using shorter sentences, and focusing on one main point at a time. The next time he pitched, he secured funding. Same idea, different delivery. For English learners, this habit is pure gold. It's not about speaking more, it's about speaking better. If you only have one sentence to make your point, make that sentence shine. For example, instead of saying, I'm thinking that maybe we could possibly try to meet later if you have time. You could simply say, can we meet later today? See the difference? The second version is clear, direct, and respectful of the listener's time. Ask yourself, am I speaking to impress or am I speaking to connect? Action. Step. Before you reply, in your native language or in English, take 3 seconds to think, what's the main message I want them to remember? Then say or write only what's necessary to deliver that message clearly. When you do this, you'll notice a shift. People will listen more closely, misunderstand you less often, and trust you more. Because here's the thing. Clarity is kindness. When you make your words easy to understand, you're not just helping yourself. You're respecting the time, energy, and emotions of the other person. Clarity is kindness in action. And when you combine precision with empathy, your communication doesn't just transfer information, but it builds relationships. They reflect before sleeping. Before your head hits the pillow tonight, ask yourself this: what did I learn today? Smart people know that the day doesn't really end when the clock says so. It ends when you take a moment to process it. The day might be full of chaos, challenges, and surprises, but there's always a hidden lesson waiting to be discovered. And the quiet moments before sleep are the perfect time to find it. Instead of letting your mind wander into worries about tomorrow or regrets from the past, you can choose a different habit. Replay your progress, not your problems. I once knew a teacher, Anna, who had a powerful nighttime ritual. Every night before bed, she would write down 2 things. One thing she did well, and one thing she could improve. She didn't write long essays, just short, simple sentences. Over time, she realized that this habit didn't just help her end the day with clarity, it also improved her English writing skills because she wrote her reflections in English. Imagine how powerful that can be for you. 2 minutes before. Sleep. 2 short sentences. 2 benefits. A clearer mind and sharper language skills. It doesn't have to be complicated. You could write, I learned a new word, resilient. I stayed calm during a stressful meeting. Or maybe, I can improve my listening by giving people more time to finish speaking. Each reflection is like putting a bookmark in the story of your life, so you can pick up where you left off tomorrow, but with more wisdom. Ask yourself, do I want to carry my mistakes to bed, or do I want to carry my lessons? When you focus on lessons, something amazing happens. You go to sleep with a sense of progress. And when you sleep with a sense of progress, you wake up with a sense of purpose. Action. Step. Tonight, before you sleep, take 2 minutes to answer these 2 questions. What did I learn today? What can I do better tomorrow? If you can, write your answers in English. Even if it's just a few words, you're training both your mind and your language skills. Remember, reflection doesn't erase mistakes. It transforms them into guidance. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. End your day with this thought: today has given me something and I am taking it with me. And tomorrow? Tomorrow you get a fresh page to write on. They stay unshaken by noise. The world is loud. Everywhere you turn, someone is offering an opinion, spreading a rumor, or trying to tell you what you should care about. But here's the thing, not all of it matters. And if you're not careful, that noise will eat up your focus, your energy, and your peace. Smart people know this. They carry a mental filter, a simple but powerful question they silently ask themselves. Does this matter to my growth? If the answer is no, they let it pass. No debate, no drama. It's like being at a crowded party where dozens of conversations are happening at once. You could listen to everyone, but then you'd leave exhausted and confused. Instead, you turn toward the voices that matter, the ones that bring value, inspiration, or opportunity. That's how smart people treat life. I think of my old colleague Rafiq, who worked in a fast-paced office where gossip spread faster than emails. He had a big dream, to start his own online business. While others wasted lunch breaks talking about who got promoted or who made a mistake, Rafiq used that time to learn digital marketing and improve his English. At first, people laughed, saying he was too serious. A few years later, he left that job to run his own thriving business. The same people who laughed were now asking him for advice. That's what happens when you refuse to let the noise decide your day. And noise isn't always negative comments. Sometimes it's trends, the next big thing that seems urgent, but actually distracts you from your real goals. In English learning, for example, people will tell you there's only one perfect method to improve. They'll say, "Don't do grammar, only speak," or "Don't speak until you've mastered." Grammar? If you listen to all of them, you'd never start. The truth is, what matters is consistency, not chasing every shiny idea. Ask yourself, am I letting other people's moods, gossip, or trends control my focus? If the answer is yes, it's time to reclaim your space. Action. Step. This week, practice the growth filter. Whenever you hear something that could distract you, pause and ask, does this help me grow? Will this matter a year from now? If it's not important, smile, let it go, and move on. You'll be amazed at how light and focused you feel when you stop carrying other people's noise. Remember, silence is not weakness, it's strength, choosing its battles. Every habit you've read about so far isn't just about being smart, it's about becoming steady, confident, and ready for the opportunities that others miss. These are habits you can start today, in small steps, and see your life shift in big ways. And when you combine these habits with learning English, you're not only sharpening your mind, but also unlocking global opportunities, jobs, friendships, travel, and knowledge. Now imagine where you'll be if you stick to them for a year. The next step? We'll take each habit and turn it from theory into something you can actually follow every single day. That's where the real transformation begins.